Hello, so this is a beginner tutorial on Photoshop CS6. Now this is a video for people who have either never used Photoshop or have really limited experience using the software. So I'm not going to be showing any new tools from the latest CS6 version. So this is basically, I'm going to show you the user interface and some of the basic tools to get started. So when you first open up Photoshop, more or less it's probably going to be really similar to what I have here. So some of the tools are going to be placed similar to what I have here. I haven't really changed anything. So when you first open it, so you see that up here you have your standard menus like file and edit, and obviously from the file menu you're going to have all those options for open, save, and things of that nature. So in edit you're gonna have some other options that are particular obviously to Photoshop, and here's some of the layered options. Now you see that many of these options right now are grayed out, basically because I haven't started a new document. Now what this area is some of the options that are going to appear up here as when you select some of the tools here. You're going to get some different options available to you up here. Now what this is, this area, this is the tools that you have available within Photoshop. Some of the marquee selection tools, some of the specialties like the brushes, many of the tools that you're really going to be using this a lot within Photoshop. So in this area we have some of the what it says color and swatches. Hopefully that's not too difficult to understand. Here we have some of the adjustments. We're going to go over those later, and styles as well. So here we have the layer. So when you create layers, they're going to be arranged up here. We also have the channels and the paths. Now those are slightly more advanced options there. Now one of the first things you're going to see is that you have something here that says essentials. That's basically your workspace. So basically this is the essentials workspace. All the windows are arranged. Mainly this is the default state. Now so you have if you go to window, you have a little more options here, some more options available to you. These are some of the display properties and tools. Say I click on brush, it brings this up, and to close that just click on this arrow. So one thing that you can do within Photoshop is you can arrange the placement of almost all these options here. Say we want to move our tools somewhere else, we can just grab there and maybe place them here, have them floating perhaps. We can also bring them, maybe if you see that blue line there, that means that you can basically place it there, or maybe there. Or even here. So you can basically move all of these options wherever you really want to. Say you want it to the side, you can even take this out, maybe put it even here. So you have the option to move things around and as you please, and place them wherever you think that you want them to be, for a more convenient workspace if you prefer. Now say you have everything out here and it's looking like a mess right now, and you really want everything to go back to the default state. So way of doing that is, if you go back here where it says Essentials, you can either save this workspace so that whenever if you like the way all these things are arranged, you can say save new workspace, and you can just give it a name, and you can decide if you want to save the keyboard shortcuts if you created any, or if you have different items in different menus, you can save that. So if I say save, let's save that. See that now it says workspace up here. That's my this particular workspace. So if we go back to Essentials, you're gonna see it's gonna be essentially the same, basically because when we were moving things around, we were basically in the Essentials workspace. So if you want everything back to its default state, you can click here and reset the Essentials, and you see that everything goes back to normal. And obviously if you wanted to go back to the previous workspace that you saved, you can click here and we go back to this mess that we created. So those are the basics of the workspaces that you can use within Photoshop, and how you can create some of your own, and you can always go back to the Essentials. And there's also a few presets here that you can try and see if you like those presets. Now if you wanted to, so let's get started into creating a new document. So if you go to File, you can either open or just select new. Now when you open, you can open it basically an image, any image really. You can just go to open and open it. It's going to appear here. But you can also go to new. You're going to get this window. You get a few presets here available within Photoshop. But you can always change the size in pixels or any other of these options here. You can change the width and height, resolution, and all of these other options here. If you want the background to be transparent or have color. So if we say OK, so now we have a new workspace, new document that we can work with. Now by default, it created that 2048 by 2048 that I typed as our pixels. So that's going to be our background here, and it's basically a layer. Now if you want to create a layer, you have the icon here. It says create new layer. I believe it's also available within the layer options, and if you click new layer, and it also tells you the keyboard shortcut for it. I prefer to use the icons here, it's the easiest way. So if you click new layer, you get this empty layer. Now the eyeballs here is if you don't want to see those layers. So see, now we have transparent because that's the layer that we have selected here. Now if you want to rename the layer, just double click on the name and just name it. Make sure you double click on the name. Sometimes if you just double click on the layer, you will get the layer style, which is something different we can get to later. Okay, so sometimes you may want to move one of these layers below the other one, but if you see here that for some reason it's not letting us move this layer below the background layer. Now why that is because this layer has been locked. Normally when you start a new document, the background layer is normally going to be locked. So if you want to move this layer below the background layer, what you can do is if you click and hold down left mouse click on the lock icon there, you can throw it here to the trash can. Now that layer is no longer locked, so you can move our new layer below it as we wish. Okay, so those are the basics of really creating layers. Just click here to create new layers, and you can name them as you please. So for now, I'm not going to show you, I think I'm going to stop here for now, and maybe in the next video I'm going to show you some of the tools available to you here within Photoshop that can be useful. I do recommend that you play around with some of the tools and see what they do. I think that's the easiest way of learning. There's no way you're going to mess something up. I mean, you can always close it and open it back up again. So it shouldn't be a problem if you just play with the tools to see what they do. Okay.